for women.
If you can just look at some data, like the World Health Organization report in 2015, reports that in relation to maternal health, we still have over 800 Nigerian women dying per every 100,000 live births. And that comes to a huge number of women dying every day while just trying to do the simple things like giving birth to children. If we look at the women economic empowerment, we find that a lot of Nigerian women are involved in agriculture. So, for example, in relation to small women-holder farmers, we have about 60 to 70% of the food produced in this country that is consumed domestically, produced by women. But a lot of these women don't own the land on which they farm. They have, I think, about 14 to 17% land holding rights over the land. We also find that a lot of agricultural policies and programs exclude these women in relation to access to loans, access to fertilizer and other inputs they need for their agriculture.
Welcome back to our special program, Women in Leadership, which we're hosted in celebration of International Women's Day. It's coming to you live from both our studios in Abuja and Lagos. Well, it's the turn of our distinguished audience now. I know that there was a hum throughout the conversation in Lagos, and a lot of people wanted to, pass comments. Who would like to go first? Okay.
Okay. I'm Dorothy Njamante, actress, activist, humanitarian. I'm a filmmaker. Now, for women in leadership, first of all, the woman is a born leader. And from the moment she births children, that's where leadership starts. So the population of the rural women and the women in the urban, the rural women and the women who are not educated, until they realize that they are born leaders, we're going to continue struggling with the narratives, the wrong narratives we're dealing with. Until the rural woman understands that, until she understands her role in the realization of the Sustainable Development Goals, until she understands what the National Health Action Plan is, or the National Action Plan on the UN Resolution 1325 and the rest of them, until they understand the contents of those things, we're going to keep on running around in circles and waiting for people to serve us positions, until they understand that people with disabilities are human beings and should be treated right. So the issue of women in leadership, women are born leaders. That is the thing. So from the point she starts feeding the child, and that's where leadership starts. So the issue of having men being scared of women and everything. What are you scared of? Somebody taught you to eat food. That was leadership. Yes.
And that's a woman. Thank you very much, Dorothy.
Okay, yeah, I have a comment and...
Would you kind of give us your name and your organization you represent? Thank you.
Yes, my name is Sembe Ko and I'm from Get Different, Nigeria. Okay, the issue, I have a comment with the issue raised by Sarah. She said that there's a gap before there was the Queen Amina of Zaria, and now all of a sudden we don't know where women is. Well, it's more of societal change that was deep. Before now in our traditional societies, there are different, let me call it, leadership structures. There was that for women, okay, for women, maybe, let's say it was Igbo communities, Umuada, or something like that. For men, you had this, the men's meeting and all that. So they were separated, and then we had a new system of government coming that was introduced to us. And then I'm not blaming them, but the new system had mostly male. That was an example that was available. So that was how it was. Then at the point, we now had to take on this new system of government, because that was a change that had come to us. Whether we negotiated or not, that's different, but that was a change that had come to us. So now there are different issues that we're struggling with. Maybe like in the traditional society, maybe if it was a men's meeting, a woman wasn't allowed to speak. If it was a woman's meeting, men were not allowed to speak. So now the society has been merged, we're both struggling for one position. If it's president, it's president. One president for everybody. So both there's that issue. Everybody's like, okay, the men, and now when you speak, for example, it says men mention of maybe when a woman speaks, say, who are you talking? The president.
So are you going to be advocating that we go back to the systems where?
No. She's asking what got missing. I'm showing her
yes,
what got missing.
How do you think we can adjust that then? I mean,
it's relevant to the state.
Do you want to help us? Yes. Do you want to help us address to trace it?
Yeah, to trace it. That's what's missing. So that's like the challenge at hand, and of course we're doing the right thing. I'm not saying.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your clarification. Did you want to say something?
Yes, I wanted to say something. Well, where did we get it missing from, or where did it go wrong from the Queen Amina of Zaria's and all that? Now, there's a new system of government. There was a new system of government, and to that end, I agree with you. But then there were the constitutions, the Clifford Constitution, the Richards Constitution, and in those days, women were not allowed to vote. Now, the first time women actually participated in elections was in 1979. And that was after the amendment to the 79 Constitution that gave women the right to vote. Now, the difference in that entire period, between the Queen Amina period and the period where women started to vote, women were not part of the political infrastructure. And so women took a back seat. And it wasn't until 1979 when women were actively allowed to vote and be voted for that women started to become part again of this political architecture. And so you see that it was from 1979 in actual fact that you see this new fillip, this new interest for women to be part of the political architecture. It actually really started in 1979. So when we talk about Queen Amina of Zaria and Margaret Atwood and so on and so forth, we must realize that there was that break. And it was that break. So in actual fact, what we see now, this renaissance and this action, this bold action, actually actively started in 1979. And so when we want to measure the progress that women have made, we should start measuring that progress really from 1979.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I just thought I'd
Thank you
Yes.
very much. Before we go to the audience again, I know that quite a number of hands are up. I would like to ask you, on Commissioner.
Yes.
I know that you're currently heading the Ministry of Higher Education in your state.
Yes.
One role, are attitudes beginning to change towards education of women, and are the women themselves eager to be educated?
Particularly with the arrival of the current governor, because he has a passion, he has a special passion for women education, girl child education, and women development. As I'm talking to you, currently we have 110 female students reading medicine and surgery and medical related courses in Sudan. Secondly, we have
110, did you say?
110 reading medicine and surgery in Sudan. They are all in level 3. By the year 2019, they will graduate. Secondly, currently in the state, we have a policy. It's not yet taken to the State House of Assembly for confirmation and resolution, but it has been conceived by the executive that we are deciding to pay stipend